Hi guys, welcome back. So, as we're all going back to school soon, I thought it would be really appropriate to start, really focusing on uploading past paper solutions. And this is actually my first foundation tier paper. It's the Edexcel November 2018 paper 1, and that's a non-calculator paper. So today I'm going to go through it and hopefully share with you some tips on how to do well at this paper. So if you haven't had a go at the questions, then maybe you could do so now, and then you could come back and we can go through the solutions together. If you haven't already considered subscribing to my channel, then please do so. I'm aiming to post sort of 1 or 2 times a week with really quality maths content. Like the video if you enjoy, and let's get on with the solutions now. Right, question 1, and we've got an ordering question. So write the following numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. It's always important to read the question. You could have just read this first line and think, oh, well, let's do it biggest to smallest. A few ways we can do this, but what I like to do sort of in my head is sort of make them have the same number of digits. So in this case, they all need to have 3. So we can add a couple of extra zeros on, and then that should help us see which one's the smallest and which one's the biggest. So we can see that this one is definitely the smallest because it's got a 0 after the point. So we'll write that one down. And then what is next? So it's 0.152. So now we're just going through the motion. And then 0.2. And of course, if you have written extra zeros, don't forget to take them off in your final answer. And then what is next? 0.37. So that's this one. And then finally 0.4. Right, decimals to percentages. Now the basic rule is times by 100. So 0.6 times by 100 is just 60%. Okay, question 3. Here is a list of numbers. From the list, write down a factor of 10. Now, a factor of 10 is numbers that divide into 10 without leaving a remainder. So, in fact, we'll just write them all down because it's good practice. And I like to write them in pairs. Pairs of numbers that multiply to give 10. So we've got 1 and 10, 2 and 5. And in fact, they are the only ones. So let's just choose 5. Okay, question 4. So write 7,829 to the nearest 1,000. Now, we take a look at the first digit and then we look at the one after that, and it's an 8. So we know that we round 8 up. So that means this whole thing is going to go to 8,000. Right, question 5, we've got some BIDMAS. Now remember, in BIDMAS, we do multiplications before addition. So this is 3 times 5, which equals 15, and then we're adding 7. So we get 22. Right, 2 cubed is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. Well, this just equals 4 times 2, and that is 8. Okay, last one. Write brackets in this statement to make it correct. So let's have a think about this. We need something to be equal to 35. We have a 7 and we have a 2 and a 3. So why don't we add brackets here to make this 7 times 2 plus 3, which is 7 times 5, which does indeed make 35. Okay, question 6. Sue has 2 cats. Each cat eats a quarter of a tin of cat food each day. She buys 8 tins of cat food. Has she bought enough to feed her 2 cats for 14 days. So if each cat eats a quarter of a tin of cat food each day, that means, 2 cats eat a half tin in total. In total per day. Right? And she has bought 8 tins of cat food. Has she bought enough to feed 2 cats for 14 days? Well, to work out how much food they eat in 14 days, we do 14 times a half, because that's how much they eat a day. And 14 times a half is just 7. So that's 7 tins. So yes, we do have enough food. Right, question 7. There are only apple trees, cherry trees, pear trees, and plum trees. The pictogram shows information. So the pictogram shows information about the number of apple trees, cherry trees, and pear trees. So we need to fill in the plum. And there is a total of 30. Now we're given this key here, saying that a square represents 4 trees. So here we've got 4, here we've got 4, here we've got 4. So I'm just going to write in total over here, and that's going to be 12. Again, here we've got 4, here we've got, this is a quarter of a square, so this is just 1, So we have 5 in total. This is 4. And this is 2 because it's 2/4 of a square. So we have 6 in total. So 12 plus 5 plus 6. Well, that equals 23. So we need this to be 7 to get up to 30. And to do that, we can do 1 full square. And we can do 3/4 of a square. Something like that should do the trick. Okay, hope that makes sense. Right, question 8, we've got some reading coordinates. So write down the coordinates of point A. So we need to look at the x-axis, it's -2, and the y-axis is -1. So A is the point -2, -1. I'll write that down there. On the grid, mark with across X the point 2, 3 and label it B. So to do this, we need to go along to 2 on the x-axis, that's here, and 3 on the y-axis, and that's where they intersect. So this is the point, oh, it said do it with a cross, didn't it? So there we go. This is the point 2, 3. Right, so part C, on the grid, draw the line with equation x equals -4. Well, this is just a vertical line parallel to the y-axis in which every x coordinate is -4. So let's do that. So you draw yours with a ruler, but it should look something like this, if not a bit straighter. It's the straight line where every point on it has x coordinate -4. Okay, substitution. G equals 9, h equals 4, so all we have to do is plug those values into here. So we get 2 lots of G, which is 9, plus 3 lots of h, which is 4. 2 9s are 18. 3 4s are 12, so this is just 30. Right, write down 2 prime numbers that have a sum of 32. Now remember what a prime number is. It's a number that has exactly 2 factors, 1 and itself. So the prime numbers go like this: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, and so on. And we need 2 that have a sum of 32. Now there's a few options for this, but the 2 I can see straight away, 13 and 19. Right, here are some fractions. Which one of these is not equivalent to 3/4? So a good tip with this question is you can start making 3/4 into something equivalent. What I mean by this is we can say, well, 3/4 is the same as 6/8, which is the same as, well, we can times 3/4 by 3 on both sides to get 9/12, and we can carry on like this. So we can times it by 4 to get 12 over 16, we can times it by 5 to get 15 over 20, and so on. Maybe now we can start ticking off ones that are equivalent. So we can tick off 6/8, we can tick off 9/12, we can tick off 15/20, and we can also tick off 18/24, because if we times this by 6, we get 18 over 24. So our answer is 10 over 16. Right, part B is about adding fractions with different denominators. So a 12th plus 5/6, but 5/6 is actually equal to 10/12, again by equivalent fractions. And now because these two denominators are the same, we can simply add the numerators. So what we get is 11 over 12. Okay, Tom uses his lorry to deliver bricks. You can use this graph to find delivery cost for different distances. So this is what it looks like. It's a line with slope that's positive and y-intercept of 10. Now that's going to be useful shortly. But you can see, as you would expect, as the distance goes up, so that's as we move along this way, yeah, the price goes up. And that's exactly what you'd expect with a delivery cost. So hopefully that makes sense. Now let's have a look. For each delivery there is a fixed charge plus a charge for the distance. How much is the fixed charge? Well, this is quite easy to see. because the delivery cost doesn't start at 0, it means the fixed cost must be here where it starts, and that is £10. So that means no matter how far away you live, you will always have to pay at least £10 for delivery there. Right, Tom makes 2 deliveries of bricks. The distance of one delivery is 20 miles more than the distance of the other. Work out the distance between the 2 delivery costs. Okay, so let's say one is perhaps 20 miles away. So let's go here and let's go up to the graph. And let's say the other one is 40 miles away. So that's this one. Okay, you can see they've got a distance here of 20. Right, and now all we have to do is read off these values. So this is £40. And this one here. So it's halfway in between 60 and 80. So it's £70. Now, the reason we can just choose any values for the distance is because this is called a linear graph, which means, if we chose a distance of 10 miles away and then 30 miles away, we'd get the exact same answer. So, yeah, the difference in delivery cost is £30. Okay, Asmol, Ryan and Kim each played a game. Asmol's score was 4 times Ryan's. Kim's score was half of Asmol's. Write down the ratio of Asmol to Ryan to Kim. So we want something like A to R to K. Now, I sometimes struggle with ratios, so I like to approach these questions using algebra. So let's say Asmol's score was 4 times Ryan's score. So we can write this as A equals 4 times R, where R is Ryan's score. So maybe I'll write that. So A is Asmol score, R is Ryan's score, and K is Kim's. So A equals 4R. This second line here, Kim's score was half of Asmol's score, so that K equals a half A. Now, how can we put this into ratio form? Well, we can say that A divided by R equals 4 divided by 1. So this tells us that the ratio A to R equals 4 to 1. Okay, and secondly, we can say that, well, K equals a half A, but A equals 4R. So it's a half of 4R, which just equals 2R. So this tells us that K divided by R equals 2 to 1. So the ratio K to R equals 2 to 1. And from this we can see that because the R value is the same, we can just link them all together. So the ratio is 4 to 1 to 2. Okay, question 14. This is quite a tricky one. And the diagram shows quadrilateral ABCD with its sides extended. This is a 4-mark question, by the way. We're told that AB equals AD, and we're asked to show that ABCD is a kite. Okay, so let's do what we can. Firstly, we can work out this angle here. So this is angle ADC. And this is 180 take away 75, because angles on a straight line add to 180. So that means that this is 105 degrees. We can also work out this one here. So this is angle BCD. And this is 50 degrees, because vertically opposite angles are equal. Okay, so we're doing well. We've now got 3 out of our 4 angles in this quadrilateral. So another thing is that angles in a quadrilateral add to 360. So I'll just write angles in quad add to 360. So this means that angle ABC, which is this one here, is equal to 360, take away the sum of the other ones. So that's 100 plus 105 plus 50. And working that out, we're going to get 360 take away 255, which equals 105. And again, that's because angles in a quadrilateral add to 360, this one. And this shows that ABCD is a kite because we've got these two opposite angles that are equal and we've got two sides that are the same. Great, so we're done there. Right, so Shahid is going to use these instructions to make a fizzy drink. So 5 parts orange juice with 2 parts of lemonade. Okay, so let's look at how much orange juice we have. So we have 300 and we need to find 1 part. So 1 part of our drink is 60 milliliters. Now because all parts have to be the same amount of milliliters, we need to take this in consideration when finding the lemonade. So to find the amount of orange juice, we times this by 5, and to find the amount of lemonade, we times by 2. So we get back to our 300 milliliters of orange, and we get 120 milliliters of lemonade. Right, and this is just how the ratio for this thing works. So it's 300 to 120. So basically we've got too much lemonade and not enough orange to make any more. So in total then we have these two added, which is 420 milliliters. Right, Shahid has 300 mils of orange, but he only has 160 mils of lemonade. Does this affect the greatest amount? Well, no, because he still has the same amount of orange juice, and the problem before was that he didn't have any more orange juice. So no, as he still doesn't have any more orange. Good. Okay, here are 2 rectangles. Jim says the 2 rectangles are similar because 8 plus 4 equals 12 and 6 plus 4 equals 10. Is Jim correct? Well, no, he's not, because we'd normally multiply, by a scale factor to get to the other rectangle. So no, we normally multiply, or we do multiply, by a scale factor. So basically, if these two were similar, then we would have that 10 divided by 6 is the same as 12 divided by 8. But this clearly isn't right because 10 divided by 6 is 5 over 3. And 12 divided by 8 is just, we've got 6 over 4, which is 3 over 2. And these are definitely not equal. Right, 80 people are asked if they like coffee. 48 of these people are women. 61 of the 80 people like coffee. 8 of the men do not like coffee. So we've got everything we need here to complete the tree. So 48 people are women. This must mean that 80 minus 48 people, which equals 32 people, are men. So we can fill this in. And this is 48. Okay, next, 61 of the people like coffee. So that means whatever this is and whatever this is, they're going to add to give 61. 8 of the men do not like coffee. So that can go in here. Right, and then this is just 32 minus 8, which equals 24. So that's in there. And now we know that this, so 24 plus this equals 61. So this is 61 minus 24, which is just 37. And then finally we know that these two have to add to give 48, which makes this 11. So I hope that makes sense there. We've just worked through what we have and deduced the rest. Okay, one of the people who likes coffee is chosen at random. Find the probability that this person is a woman. So we know that there's 61 people in total who like coffee. Yep, so that was given to us here. So how many women like coffee? Well, that's just this number here. So the probability is just 37 divided by 61. Okay, Food Mart and Jan's store sell boxes of the same type of breakfast cereal. Each shop has a special offer. So at the Food Mart, you can get 20% off £5 for 400 grams, and at Jan's you can get 400 plus 30% extra for £5. So which box of cereal is the better value for money? Well, let's take a look at the Food Mart. So what is 20% off £5? Well, that is just 5 times 0.8, which equals £4. So this box here is £4. Okay, and now let's have a look at Jan's store. What is 400 grams plus 30%? Well, that's 400 times by 1.3. And this is just 520 grams. So now we could do perhaps a cost per gram, or perhaps try and get them to the same grammage. Okay, so what we can do is look at how much grams you get for £1. So let's look at the Food Mart, and so it's £4 for 400 grams. Let's divide both by 4, so we get £1 for 100 grams. Now let's look at this one. We get £5 for 520 grams, and let's divide by 5. So let's separate this. That is a pound sign there. So £1 is going to be, well, 520 divided by 5, so that's 100 plus 20 divided by 5 is 104 grams. So what do we have here? So we've got the same price, £1, but in one store you only get 100 grams, in the other you get 104 grams. So that tells us that Jan's store is the better deal. Okay, so we look at this point, and how do we get there from the center? So we go 3 up and 3 to the left, so we're going to go 3 to the right and 3 down to get to it. So that's that point there. Okay, let's look at perhaps this point. We go from the center 3 to the left and 5 up this time, so we go 3 to the right and 5 down. Okay, next point, let's look at this corner. From the center we go 4 along this time, 4 to the left and 5 up, so we go 4 along and 5 down, so that's here. And the final point is this one. From the center we go 4 along, so 4 to the left and 4 down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what our shape looks like when it's being rotated 180 degrees around the point 1, 0. And again, make sure you use a ruler, not like me. Right, we've got some nice questions on indices, and I love indices questions, so here we go. Rules of indices, so 3 to the 7 times 3 to the minus 2, well that's just the same as 3 to the 7 plus minus 2. This here is going to just make a minus, so this is just going to be 3 to the 5. And then 3 to the 5 divided by 3 cubed is 3 to the 5 minus 3, which equals 3 squared, and we all know that 3 squared is just 9. Okay, substitution. V squared equals U squared plus 2AS. We all know these equations. Work out the value of V. So V squared, U squared is 12 squared plus 2 times minus 3 times 18. 12 squared is 144 plus, well, minus 3 times 18 is minus 54. So 2 times that is minus 108. So we get 36. So V squared equals 36. And so V equals plus or minus 6. So I'll write 6 or minus 6. Okay, bit of tricky algebra here. So make S the subject of, so that means we want S equals something. So firstly, let's get 2AS on its own. So we do V squared take away U squared equals 2AS. and now we can just divide by 2a. So this gives us s equals v squared minus u squared over 2a. Right, so let's have a look at this worded question. A bonus of £2,100 is shared by 10 people who work for a company. 40% is shared equally between 3 managers, and the rest is shared between 7 salesmen. One of the salesmen says if the bonus is just shared, so if we just take that 2,100 and share it equally between all 10, he thinks he will get 25% more money than what he currently does. So let's take a look at what he currently gets. So 40% of 2,100, well that's just, so 10% is 210. So we times that by 4, we get 840. So this is shared equally between the 3 managers. So each manager gets 840 divided by 3, which is 280. Right, and then the rest of the bonus, so the rest of the bonus is 2,100, take away this 840. So that's just 1,260. This is shared equally between 7. So 1,260 divided by 7, and let's do some long division. Or short division, so 7's into 1 is 0, remainder 1, 7 into 12 is 1, remainder 5, 7 into 56 is 8, remainder 0, and 7 into 0 is 0. So each salesman gets £180. Right, but what does the salesman claim? Well, he thinks if the bonus is just shared equally between all 10 people, he'll get 25% more. So if 2,100 shared between 10, he gets £210. But is this 25% more of 180? Let's have a look. So 25% more is, so what is this? Well, 10% is 18, 20% is 36, is 45. So £225. So he's not quite right because he only would get £210. So I hope that makes sense there. So I'll put no, as 25% more would be 225. He would only get 210. Okay, it would take 120 minutes to fill a pool using water from 5 taps. How many minutes would it take to fill the pool if only 3 taps are used? Well, what I like to do with these is work out how long it would take for 1 tap. So if it's 1 tap, then it's 5 times as long. Okay, and 5 times 120 is 600 minutes. But we have 3 taps. So 3 taps is going to be 3 times quicker than 1 tap. So what we can do is we can do 600 divided by 3, which is 200 minutes. State one assumption you made, so that is quite simple, that all taps run at the same time. Or all taps run at the same rate. Okay, plane travels at a speed of 213 miles per hour. Work out an estimate for the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. So we know the formula, speed equals distance over time. Right, so we need to rearrange this formula a little bit to get t as the subject. Well, this is just distance divided by speed. The distance we want to go is 1 mile and the speed is 213, but because this is an estimate, we're going to round down to 200, and this is still in hours this time, so we need to convert to seconds. Right, and we do that by timesing by 3600, as there's 3600 seconds in 1 hour. Okay, so this is our estimate. We just need to work it out. So cancel off the zeros, and we are left with 36 over 2, which equals 18. So 18 seconds to travel 1 mile. That sounds about right. Okay, and the answer to part B, is your answer an underestimate or overestimate? Well, we rounded down here. So we rounded down from 213 to 200. So therefore our answer is an overestimate because we are dividing by less parts. So overestimate as we rounded down the speed. Great, simultaneous equations. So, few ways you can go about these, but so I'm going to call them number 1 and number 2. Let's take a look at number 2. There's something really easy we can do here. So if x minus 3y is 9, this tells us that x equals 3y plus 9. And now we can sub this into 1. So let's do this. So we get 5 lots of x, but x is now 3y plus 9, plus y equals 21. So let's expand in the normal way. So we're going to get 15y plus 45 plus y equals 21. And collecting, we get 16y, and then 21 take away 45 is going to be minus 24. Okay, so we need to do y equals minus 24 divided by 16. This is the same as minus 12 over 8, which is minus 6 over 4, and that's minus 1.5. Okay, now all we have to do is sub y equals minus 1 into either 1 or 2. So let's sub it into number 2, which was x take away 3y equals 9. So minus 3 times minus 1.5, well that's just 4.5. So we get x plus 4.5 equals 9. So this tells us that x equals 4.5. So there we have it. We've solved it. 4.5 and minus 1.5. Okay, we've got a really nice question on areas of circles. So let's have a go at this. So the diagram shows a square ABCD with sides of length 20. It shows a semicircle and an arc of a circle. AB is the diameter of the semicircle. AC is an arc of a circle with center B. Show that the area of the shaded region divided by the area of the square equals pi over 8. So we can start really easily with the area of the square. So the side lengths are 20, so it's just 20 times 20, which equals 400 centimeters. Right, one thing to notice about the shaded region is that it's a quarter of a semicircle. So, and the radius is 20. So the area of a circle is pi r squared, where r is the radius. So the area of a quarter circle is pi r squared over 4. And in this case, r is just this distance here because B is the center of the circle. So this equals pi times 20 squared over 4, which equals 100 pi. Okay, good. Now what we need to do is find the area of the semicircle. So that's this one here. So the area of the semicircle, again, in a similar way, a semicircle is half of a circle. So it's pi r squared over 2. And in this case, what is r? Well, the diameter is AB, which means the radius is half of that. So the radius is 10. Pi times 10 squared over 2 equals 50 pi. Okay, so what is the area of the shaded region? Quite a tricky question, this. So area of shaded, well, that equals the area of the quarter circle. Take away area of semicircle. And it's not too difficult to see that this is 50 pi. Okay, great. So now we need to do this. Area of shaded region divided by area of square. So I'll write that down. Area of shaded divided by area of square. Well, we just showed that the area of the shaded is 50 pi, and the area of the square was 400. Now we just need to do a little bit of cancelling. So how many times does 5 go into 40? Well, that is just 8. And we are left with pi over 8, just as I asked for. So it's always good when your answer matches up with what you're trying to get. Right, Amina has 2 bags. In the first, there are 3 red balls and 7 green balls. In the second, there are 5 red balls and 4 green balls. She takes a random ball from the first and then from the second. Complete the tree diagram. So, in the first bag, there are 7 green balls. So that means this is 7/10. Okay, in the second bag, there are 5 red balls and 4 green balls. So that means this is going to be 4/9. And this is also going to be 5/9. And finally, this is 4/9. So basically, because it's a different bag of balls, you know, the probabilities aren't changing from choice to choice. Right, work out the probability that Amina takes 2 red balls. Well, hopefully you can see that there's only one way this can happen, and that is if she takes a red from the first bag and then a red from the second bag. And how do we do this? Well, we need to multiply the probabilities. So 5/9, and that's because of the formula P, A and B equals PA times PB. So 3/10 times 5/9 is 15 over 90, and we will leave our answer like that. Right, a nice little question to finish. The size of each interior angle of a regular polygon is 11 times the size of each exterior angle. Work out. Right, so this is a lovely little question to finish on. The size of each interior angle of a regular polygon is 11 times the size of each exterior angle. Work out how many sides the polygon has. So, a few things we can do here. The first thing is we know that for any regular polygon, the interior angle plus the exterior angle is 180. And this doesn't matter which polygon it is as long as it's regular. Okay, great. And what else are we told? The interior angle is 11 times the exterior. So let x be the exterior. Then the interior is 11x. Okay, and then from this, we're almost good to go. So we can say that 11x plus x equals 180. Gathering up the x's, we get 12x equals 180. So x equals 180 divided by 12, which equals 15 degrees. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the interior angle is 11 times 15, which is 115, 165, and the exterior angle is 15. Now, another thing we know is that the exterior angle is 360 divided by n, where n is the number of sides. Okay, so all we have to do, we know the exterior angle is 15 now. So all we have to do is do, well, 360 divided by 15. And this gives us 24 sides. So, because we know that if we add up all the exterior angles in our regular polygon, we get to 360. We can just divide 360 by the number or whatever the exterior angle is to get the number of sides. So 24 sides is the final answer there. Really hope you enjoyed this paper. If you'd like to see more, then please do let me know. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Thanks for watching. See you later.